The pool of generals used for the selection of this top generals list are not limited to free-to-play. Some generals will be extremely difficult to obtain. If you are lucky enough to obtain one of the more difficult generals without spending, rejoice, for the gods of Evony have surely blessed you. As a side note, the game has been changing very rapidly over the last few months. Therefore, there are some new considerations for rankings that did not previously exist. The new general ascension system has complicated what used to be somewhat straightforward. Since you need multiple copies of a general to ascend to the max level, finding the right general for you might not be as simple as picking the one that appears best on paper. Some generals are much easier to obtain and therefore can be ascended more easily. Ascending will provide more benefit than the differences between skill books, so if you are a free-to-play or medium to low budget player, you may not want to go with a general that is the most exclusive, as you will not likely be able to ascend them in the future. The mounted PvP march is typically used as a sacrificial march meant to deal heavy damage to the opponent's ground troops. This is because cavalry are susceptible to being picked off by archers. Against significantly weaker enemies, mounted troops can also be used as a cleanup march, but that's not a common case. It is not generally advisable to send a cavalry march as the first attack against a full-strength opponent unless that opponent is severely lacking in ranged troops. In most cases, the purpose of a cavalry march is to wipe out the opponent's ground troops. Mounted troops are already heavy damage-dealing troops. What they need more than anything is the opportunity to survive so that they can deal their damage. After all, a dead mounted troop deals 0 damage. The highest priority buff for mounted troops should be HP, followed closely by defense and attack. Similar to my discussion of ground speed in the top 5 ground generals video, the mounted speedbook is a questionable choice. It could be very effective, it could also be ineffective. In the case of mounted troops in a PvP rally, if your troops are slightly faster than the rest of the rally, then yours would theoretically be the first to be targeted by the enemy archers. That's not a good thing. In the case of a solo PvP march, then maybe your troops might reach the enemy faster and be able to survive the archer's attack. Maybe. It's guesswork and unreliable. The skill book might be okay, but it also might be devastating to your battles. The way I look at it is that you should never send cavalry against an enemy with strong ranged anyhow. As I've said in the past, I choose my skill books based on certainties rather than maybes. Will buffing HP, defense, and attack help my cavalry march? Absolutely. Will mounted speed help my cavalry march? Maybe it will, maybe it won't, maybe it will make things worse. Again, these are just my thoughts, so you do what you think is best with the information available. And now for the top 5 PvP mounted generals from all sources as of June 2022. Number 5. The number 5 spot was really tricky. It was a toss-up between Hannibal and Prince Eugene. Prince Eugene has superior buffs overall, and he has the versatility advantage of having a skill book that works offensively and defensively. Hannibal has slightly higher attack and is significantly easier to obtain, which makes the process of ascension easier, except for the fact that he is not currently ascendable. His skill book works only when attacking, and he isn't quite as strong when maxed out. In the end, I decided that Prince Eugene would occupy the 5th spot. My reasoning here is that neither of the two generals are worth the trouble to ascend, considering the other options in the top 5 list. Therefore, it only makes sense to look at them in their pre-ascension form, which changes matters. Prince Eugene's versatility and overall strength before ascension is enough reason to give him the spot. Sorry Hannibal, but it looks like your time is done. At least until we are someday able to see what you look like when fully ascended. Prince Eugene's skill, Battle of Zenta, increases mounted troops attack by 35% and mounted defense and HP by 10%. As mentioned earlier, this skill is active both offensively and defensively, which provides versatility similar to that of Martinez. It's such a shame that a brand new general that had to be purchased occupies such a low spot in the ranking, but here we are. Number 4. Lysander just barely squeezes into 4th place. I highly considered not including him as there are alternatives for mounted rally leading generals that are individually much stronger than Lysander. However, the rally capacity increases for those generals are only present after having been awakened, whereas Lysander can achieve an increase of 15% rally capacity without even needing to be ascended. Lysander's skill, Conqueror at Sea, increases mounted attack by 25% when attacking, and rally capacity by 10% when used to lead a rally. You'll be able to acquire an additional 5% rally capacity by completing Lysander's 4th specialty. If you are a rally leader and you need to fill the rally to the max, you should consider using Lysander. What he lacks in individual power, he more than makes up for in a rally by creating room for more troops. If you are not leading rallies, this is definitely not the general for you. Lysander has been awakened, but his ascended benefits do not provide additional rally capacity. The ascended benefits do increase his individual effectiveness though, so they aren't useless. Still, the limited nature of Blood of Ares has me thinking that he should be sidelined with regards to Ascension. There are much higher priority generals to work on before Lysander. Number 3. George A. Custer was released only 2 days ago, but he's already making a name for himself in the rankings by placing 3rd in the top 5 list. Custer's skill, Son of the Morning Star, increases march size by 10% and mounted attack by 40%. Before you ask, yes, you absolutely can put the mounted attack book on George Custer. However, keep in mind that it used to be possible to put a siege attack book on Sorena as well, but Evony developers took that away. It's not likely that will happen again, but you never know. When ascended to the 3rd star, Custer will obtain an 8% increase to rally capacity, which could make him a potential alternative to Lysander. It really would come down to whether a difference of 7% in rally capacity is worth the increase in individual effectiveness and versatility considering how difficult it will be to awaken multiple generals. Another consideration here is that if Custer is only placed 3rd in this list and if he's such a difficult general to acquire, is it worth the effort of ascending him? To most people, the answer to that question is going to be no. The number 1 and 2 picks on this list are likely far more suitable to almost every player out there. Number 2. Roland makes a strong comeback as an option for a mounted general. Roland is an awakened general and he is easily obtainable in the tavern and through relic fragments. This makes ascending Roland far easier than exclusive generals like George Custer and Prince Eugene. The question comes down to his effectiveness in PvP, which I'm happy to tell you is very high. When ascended and specialized, Roland has some of the strongest buffs out there. The downside to Roland is that his primary skill book, Glory Knight, which provides 30% mounted attack and 15% mounted defense and HP, is only active when used to attack. Despite the downside, Roland is a super strong general and should definitely be considered. Number 1. Finally, we reach the number 1 spot in the top 5 list for mounted PvP generals. That spot is reserved for the valiant Martinus. Boy, am I happy that I invested my runestones into this guy. I was already pro Martinus before the Ascension system was released due to the versatility he provides in having a primary skill that could be both offensive and defensive. Now with his awakening, Martinus has only gotten better. Martinus' skill, the Dragon Wakes, increases mounted troop attack by 25% and an additional 15% if he's equipped with a dragon. Martinus really begins to shine above the rest when fully specialized and ascended. In addition to developing incredible buffs, his 3rd star of Ascension will provide an additional 6% rally capacity. It's no Lysander, but if I were a rally leader, I'd choose to ascend Martinus as my primary PvP mounted general and keep an unascended Lysander on the bench in case that extra capacity was ever actually needed. Thank you so much for watching this video and supporting the channel. If you liked what you saw, please consider hitting the like button and checking out other videos on the Miser's Guide to Evony. I'll see you in the next video.